Hello, this is Mr. Wyrick, and I'm here today to talk to you about Lesson 2.4, the fourth lesson from Chapter 2, and this will be over deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning strays away from what we've been doing as inductive reasoning, where we say, okay, if this is always true, then we can move to here, and if this is always true, then we can move to here, and kind of adds in some other steps. For example, if it's one counterexample that disproves something, that's not a valid way to prove something. Okay, so if we say that all four-sided figures are rectangles, if we can have one four-sided figure that is not a rectangle, it's enough to disprove that statement, but it's not enough to prove something else. It's not enough to make something valid. Make sure you read into this one. You might even want to go ahead and read the stuff before, because my explanation here is going to go pretty quick, and if it doesn't make sense to you, you might need to do some additional research on the internet, that kind of stuff. The two types of deductive reasoning that they go over in the book that we're going to be using on the lesson today are the law of detachment and the law of syllogism. If it's the law of detachment, we have an if-then statement that is always true. And we can determine if our outcome from that is valid or not. The examples that I can give you, there's one from the book. It's, if there is no gas in the car will not start. Okay, that's an if-then statement. If there is no gas, then the car will not start. So then we take a look at another statement. Now that first statement is always true. Granted that our cars are not electric cars. Okay, so we're dealing with gasoline, internal combustion automobiles, and we're saying if there's no gas in it, then it will not start. If we say that Roberto's car has no gas in it, then we can conclude it will not start. Okay, but we can only call that a valid conclusion if it goes in the exact same direction. Okay. So if we say, if there is no gas in the car, then it will not start, and we say Frank's car will not start, and we say that means it doesn't have any gas in it, that is not true. We can't take that second half, okay, and be able to make a conclusion. We can't take the second half of that statement and be able to make a valid conclusion from that, because there could be a number of reasons why his car will not start, but we can guarantee 100% if his car does not have gas, it will not start. Okay, so be very careful. We're looking for the way that is always true, and we can prove a valid conclusion if it's the same way. Sunscreen at the beach is another example that's there. If Roberta is on the beach, then she is wearing sunscreen. Every time she goes to the beach, she wears sunscreen without fail. So we then have a statement that says Roberta is on the beach. We can say and have it be a valid conclusion that she is wearing sunscreen. But we can't go the other direction with it. Okay, we can't say if Frank is on the beach, then he is wearing sunscreen, and then say Frank is wearing sunscreen, so he must be on the beach. It doesn't work that way. You can't take that second half and make it true. Okay? If you are using an if-then statement and proving something that's in the similar vein, then that's the law of detachment. If we have the law of syllogism, it's two if-then statements, and we follow the logic. Okay? We follow the logic there. They have a great example in the book. It says, if you do not get enough sleep, you'll be tired, and if you're tired, you will do poorly on the test. Therefore, we can go from the first one all the way to the third one, which is if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to do poorly on the test. That's the only direction we can go with the syllogism. If you try to say something like, okay, then if you had a poor test, you're tired. That's not necessarily true. Maybe you didn't study, maybe you didn't learn the material in the first place, maybe you were too nervous to ask questions. There are a number of reasons why you could have done not as good of a job on the test as you wanted. However, if you get no sleep, you will be tired. If you are tired, you will not do as well on the test. These are logical conclusions to follow through. There's usually two of them. That's kind of the way they're going to be set up in the book. So this is our deductive reasoning, the law of detachment, the law of syllogism. Make sure you're getting this stuff into your notes. There are examples in the book, and I think that you should definitely add the examples of these to your definitions. And if you get stuck, make sure you are referring to your notes when we do this in class.